Let me paint you a scene that you might recognize. You go to sit down to do your work. You've got your beverage of choice, a task list, and maybe even a hint of motivation. But 5 minutes later, you're watching YouTube Shorts. You're scrolling on Instagram Reels. You're looking through TikTok again. You start checking your email, your phone vibrates, you start texting someone back. Then you're back to social media. Then somehow you're in a rabbit hole of product reviews on a backpack that you didn't even know existed and didn't even know that you needed about an hour ago. Sound familiar? This is pretty much where I was this last week. And honestly, it's kind of been my life lately. I'm not proud of it, and I know I'm also not alone. Focus these days feels like a superpower that I just don't have. So I wanted to make a video about it. Not because I've mastered it, and not because I have a perfect understanding of how to build focus, but because I desperately need to kind of get working on it in my own life. And I want to show you what I've learned and looked over to actually rebuild my ability to better focus and get things done. We'll cover why our brain is not really broken, it's just incredibly overloaded. Why attention is something that you can actually train and not something that you're just born with. And how to build a lifestyle that makes focus feel natural, even fun at some times. Let's get into it. First things first, we gotta be honest about something. We live in the noisiest time in human history. We have notifications, emails, ads, short form videos, breaking news, pings, reels, TikTok, group text, AI generated everything. It's like every app and piece of technology is vying and battling for your attention. Everything is battling to be your main focus. And a lot of the times, they succeed. According to research cited by the Brussels Times, people touch their smartphone over 2,600 times per day. That's like a few taps every single minute. We are constantly engaging with our devices. We are never not stimulating ourselves. Standing in line? Pull out your phone. Waiting for a friend? Phone. Brushing your teeth? Phone. Going to bed? Phone. Even when I play video games now, I have to have my other screen playing something else in the background because I can't just do one thing at a time. And one of the perfect descriptions of this is you look at the reels that are like this super satisfying video, but then voiceovered by Neil deGrasse Tyson, or he's like in the bottom half of the screen and explaining how gravity works. But meanwhile, I'm watching a hydraulic press like break Legos, and it's really interesting. And I watched the whole thing probably 2 or 3 times. It's like that, okay? Our attention span is like ripped to shreds. I've even seen the reels of like what movies are going to look like in the future, where you have the movie playing on half the screen and then the other half is someone playing Subway Surfers. Okay, it's crazy, it's insane. But this constant stimulation trains our brain to expect something new every few seconds, and when it doesn't get it, you feel incredibly bored, anxious, restless, and so you naturally reach for another hit. And here's the kicker: your brain doesn't really know the difference between intentional focus and just reactive scrolling. A lot of the times we just tend to follow the path of least resistance. As the YouTube channel Improvement Phil discusses in their video, How to Stay Focused Longer, having this constant exposure to fun, short form entertainment content is like constantly pumping your brain with junk food. If this is the only thing that you consume, your attention span continues to shrink and weaken. We're training our brains for constant novelty, not sustained concentration. So the real question is, how do we take back control? Here's where things get interesting and a little practical. Focus isn't just mental, it's visual. In fact, one of the fastest ways to regain your attention is by changing what you're actually looking at. Think of your brain like a camera. You can either zoom in for really high resolution, or you can kind of go wide and maybe a little bit fuzzy. When you tap that section and focus on something, that's like our mental focus. We can either look at something very specific in high definition, or take a bigger picture in kind of low resolution. How it was explained to me is like we have this cone of attention. We kind of zero in on whatever we want to focus on, and the more that's going on, the less we actually take in. But the more we think we're looking at. How to Quickly Improve Focus. It's by Andrew Huberman. He emphasizes that mental focus directly follows visual focus. We can either focus on a small area with really high definition, or a big area with a little bit less detail. And it's not just about auditory overload, it's about your brain trying to reduce some of the inputs so that it can actually better focus on what it needs to get done. So when we want to focus in and zero on something, we kind of have to limit the stimuli that's actually happening. By turning down the radio, our brain is actually improving the quality of what we want to focus in on, trying to figure out where the house address is. And smartphones are perfectly designed to kind of hijack this attention span. The size of the screen fits so perfectly into our cone of attention. It's small enough that we can really zero in on it, see everything that's going on, but has enough information and content to keep you hooked. You basically only see your phone. That's why even looking at your phone can make your focus way worse. Even if you don't touch it, just knowing that it's constantly vying for that high-res attention, even when it's just sitting there doing nothing. Now, let's shift gears. Focus isn't just something you lose. You actually have to build it up and even train, like a muscle. So, let's treat it that way. Welcome to the Focus Gym. Here's your routine. Pick a focus exercise. This can be reading a book, journaling, or maybe writing, studying something in long form like a textbook, or solving some kind of complex problem, maybe even doing your homework. These are all examples of long form content that can help us stretch our attention span, as opposed to the short form content that kind of shrinks it. Improvement Phil suggests on his channel that you kind of create this task that you're going to train and focus in on. It's like a mental exercise. You're going to do a couple reps every session, and you're going to do 2 or 3 sets a week. You start training with that exercise until you feel like you're losing interest. Set a timer and see how long you lasted. Do about 2 to 3 reps a day, and each week, track your progress. As you start to focus on these focus exercises, you should start to see an increase in the amount of time that you can stay focused on that task. Like reading, for example. Let's say for your first week, you're only able to read for about 8 minutes at a time before you start feeling that pull to check your phone. But every few days, you do another set. You start reading a little bit more and more each day. By the end of the month, you're able to do about 15 minutes before you start feeling that. You start seeing that progress, all right? Now don't give up on me. We got to keep this going. Another option is to simply set a timer for 25 minutes. This is the Pomodoro technique. I've talked about this before, and it's something that I really, really like. You work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. Every 4 of those sessions, you take a little bit longer 20 to 30-minute break. And here's why this works. It gives your brain a clear start and a stop point. You're not saying, I got to focus until I give up or collapse or fall asleep. You're just saying 25 minutes. That seems really doable. You can also change the length to really get yourself in the zone. I usually end up at about 40 minutes because that really can kind of get me into that deep work. You don't want to go past 90 minutes though, because that's about where humans really start to lose interest and really start to fall flat. As Ali Abdaal mentioned in his video, How to Stay Focused While Studying, effective ways to study and work is to have some kind of structure built in. Next, keep adding sets and reps like the gym, like you're training for a mental marathon. Start with 2 or 3 Pomodoros a day. Do that for a few weeks until you kind of get into the groove, and then slowly start to increase the number of sessions. Gradually build up to 6 or 8 a day. Celebrate consistency, not intensity. Measure your progress. Track how long you went without checking your phone. This awareness is what creates the progress. Periodically kind of test your focus level, see how long you can go. Really push yourself, all right? I want to set a new PR. Another big thing is don't multitask, all right? Don't listen to music with lyrics. Don't have any background shows going on. No jumping between tabs or tasks. And I know I'm especially guilty of this. I will almost always have something playing in the background when I'm doing anything. I can't even brush my teeth anymore without my phone in the other hand. Each time you split your attention, you're dropping your efficiency significantly. Focus is fragile, okay? We have to protect it. And there's this thing called deliberate disengagement. Whether it's walking, meditating, or just relaxing without your phone, it's actually really crucial for rebuilding your attention span. Because I think a lot of us have kind of lost it over the last few years. Now, let's talk about the fuel behind your focus, okay? Energy. You can have the best techniques in the world, but if your energy is shot, your focus will follow. Simple wins boost that focus, okay? We have to do the things we know we should do. I'm talking good hours of sleep, okay? 7 to 9 hours. No negotiation. You're not a machine. Prioritizing sleep is fundamental to cognitive performance, okay? Hydration, even slight dehydration, messes with cognitive performance, okay? Keep that water bottle handy, okay? I know we got our Stanley mugs. Let's keep it going. We got to keep our fluids up. Movement, walk or exercise, at least for 15 minutes every day, okay? It wakes up our brain, and honestly, we're designed to move. Regular exercise is a real key component to healthy, focused mind. Diet, okay? High sugar equals a high crash. Feed your brain, not your cravings. That goes for junk food as far as content as well, okay? We got to cut some of that out. We got to get on a plan. These foundational habits are also emphasized by Ali Abdaal in his video on staying focused. These foundational habits are really important for making sure that our mental energy is where it needs to be and making sure we're running on a good, healthy cycle. Also, your environment matters. A clean desk equals a clear mind. And the same goes for your room or office or cubicle or whatever it is. Having things neat and organized feeds your creativity and allows focus to really flourish. Cluttered physical space often leads to a cluttered mental space. The other thing we can control in our environment is lighting. Natural light and sunshine helps boost our motivation and energy, okay? Position your workspace near a window if at all possible. Or make sure to take breaks to actually enjoy being outside. Some nice clean air and sunshine is always good for you. Background noise. Try some brown noise or really soft instrumental music, or maybe just silence. We don't need to have this constant stimuli all the time. I promise we don't. Experiment with what works best for you, and often less auditory distractions is better for us. Another real key to improving our focus is making sure we have some kind of a structure to the day. Make your bed. This is a really simple way to get some sense of accomplishment right off the bat and from the get-go. Maybe even avoid checking your phone for the first 30 minutes. Get up, exercise, go for a little walk, meditate, just think. This is a real critical step to prevent immediate distraction and kind of set a calm tone for your day. I remember reading The Miracle Morning a while back, and that first hour of how we spend our day often kind of sets the tone and mood for how the rest of the day is going to play out. So if we're slow and reluctant to get out of bed, we start watching Reels or Instagram or YouTube, it'll often bleed into the rest of the day and kind of set that whole day in motion like that. But the reverse is also true. If we get up right when we say we're going to, maybe do a little bit of exercise, a good breakfast, do a little bit of mental focus, then we can kind of carry that throughout the day. These kind of micro habits signal to our brain that, hey, we're in control today. And remember, a phone on the desk can sometimes reduce cognitive performance even if it's face down and on silent. We're kind of addicted to these things. We have to start by separating ourselves from it just a little bit. This point is made especially in Ali Abdaal's video, where he says simply having your phone nearby, even if you're not using it, can drain your mental resources. It's like trying to meditate right next to a slot machine in the middle of Vegas, okay? It's designed to be flashy and noisy and grab your attention and get you to play. But we have to find a way to fight that. And often removing us from that situation or removing it from the situation is one of the best ways to do that. Now let's talk a little bit more about focus in general. It's not about time blocks and to-do lists. It's about meaning. If your work doesn't feel important, if your goals aren't something that excite you and get you to work, your brain is going to look for something that does. And there are plenty of outlets that are willing to take that from you. Think about this. When you're playing a video game, are you distracted? When you're laughing with your friends and having a good time, are you distracted then? When you're on a date, maybe watching a movie, or explaining to your family how to play Marvel Champions, the card game, usually you get pretty focused. A lot of the times, we're totally focused in those situations. We're engaged. We're enjoying what we're doing, and it shows. And this is one of the core insights from Ali Abdaal's video, How to Improve Your Focus. Ali emphasizes that we're naturally more focused on the things that we enjoy. It's how do I care more, not how do I focus in more? How do I feel more energized when I need to focus, rather than how do I need to spend more time? It's about cultivating this kind of growth mindset for us, understanding that it's a skill that we can develop, and it's not really a fixed trait. So make your tasks and your to-do list like missions. Gamify them. Set reward progress. Have a little progress bar. Inject some curiosity into it. Here's some questions you can ask yourself to help do that. What's today's highlight going to be? What small win would make me proud tonight when I go to bed? How can I make this task just 5% more interesting? Find some novelty. Change your study spot. Study outside or try working in a different location. Try different playlists. Time yourself. Journal about your process. Try some different things to help improve your focus. A lot of the times getting out of the norm can really help us focus in on what we want to achieve. A lot of the times we just have to shift our mindset from, I have to do this, to, I get to explore this. I get to challenge myself. I get to accomplish something. The sense of adventure and incorporating fun into the things we have to do is kind of key to sustained engagement and focus. When we're having fun, productivity kind of takes care of itself. Focus isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about showing up for your life instead of scrolling past it. And it takes time. There's no hack that just changes your brain completely overnight. But every time we sit down to read, every time we leave our phone in another room, every time we pause and reflect instead of just reacting, we're hopefully building something stronger. We're becoming the people that we actually want to be. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, fully alive. So don't aim for a perfect 10 out of 10 focus today. Just aim for 1% better. Thanks for listening so much. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. Let me know in the comments what's your biggest distraction and what thing you're going to try to train your focus on. What is your training exercise going to be for your mental focus? I'd love to hear it down below, and I will comment to as many people as I possibly can. Until next time, I have been Colt Bullock. This has been the My Career Path podcast, and I will catch you guys next time.